Yeah, I'm talking about I'm in the software, the PC software. I'm using the HRI-200 box, and the place where I find the settings is File, Transceiver, and then what I do is on the right hand side I've set it to dual receive and timing 1 second, and I put in the frequency 438,800, and that's showing up on the B section of my FTM 300, and on the A section I've got the frequency that we're talking on now. Back to you. Okay, well with
Yeah, it
KB2
does not work
KBD.
that way, sir. Uh, that's for if you look at the back of the HRI-200, there's a second radio input, and that's for running that in a receive as a, you can use it as a controller to override the system and take the system on and offline and stuff like that. It's basically useless unless you're running a lot of equipment kind of stuff. But the average person will never use that setting with another radio attached to it. It's a lot of equipment for nothing.
M0 FXB returning. Yeah, I'm sort of sat here looking at the manual, and it says when you select dual receive, operates the voice channel and preset search channel by dual receiving with one transceiver. Dual receive timing setting, blah blah blah. And then that's what it says, that's what the manual says. Operates the voice channel and preset search channel by dual receiving with one transceiver. I'm guessing that's what you've just told me. So on the next selection down where it says digital double, use one transceiver for voice channel and a second transceiver for preset search channel. Is that the same thing? Back to you. Right, KB2, KBD. Just testing this out.
Yes, sir, pretty much. It's so you can actually have a search frequency running. So other on like the GM mode, you can have it set in there and beacon out that frequency so people can find your network, kind of a thing. Uh, it's very seldom ever used. I don't think in all the years that I've been doing this, I think I've only come across maybe two people ever tried it and used it, and they didn't use it very long. It's more for like a repeater use and stuff like that. We use it more on repeaters, but not on a strict simplex node.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Yeah, well, that's good news because my friend is trying to set it up as well, and he's saying, well, what's the point of it? And I'm like, yeah, I agree. And I'm sat here. I've got several different systems. I've obviously got a hotspot, HRI-200, but I've got all the cables, and I've got the latest cables as well, SCU 55, 57, all that kind of stuff. All kinds of different C4FM radios, including the FT2, FT 300. What's the other one I've got? FT100. Still got that. It works great, doesn't it? So, okay, well, thanks, Ken. Thought I'd find out because the HRI 200 box, it does actually work so good. You just have to sacrifice one radio, don't you? That to you? Is that also the downside of having the HRI 200 box, and what to you are the upsides of that box? Back to you, rather than a SCU cable.
Okay, the HRI 200 box mostly gives you a room, and that's about it. It really gives you a room, so you can have a bunch of people gather there like this is the room, sort of a thing. It really does nothing for you as a whole. It does nothing for you. Uh, when they changed everything in 2019 and introduced the PDN networks and stuff into the system, that changed the whole ball game, and you really don't need the HRI 200. can do the same thing with the other. And actually, without the HRI-200, it gives you more flexibility. So with the HRI-200, you're pretty much stuck as a node radio stuck on the system, and you have to use a third radio pretty much to connect back into it. With a radio running in direct mode, PDN kind of system set up, you have the opportunity of using your microphone when you're home as a radio to talk on, and then when you go out and you go on the road, you can push the button and then use your frequency to talk back to your radio at the house. So it gives you your own, like a personal repeater. So if you're within 5-10 miles of your house, you got connectivity back and you can go out into the networks. So it gives you a little bit more. You can still change the rooms. You can do everything. You're just not hosting a room.
November 2, X-ray Charlie Zulu on the side. Got something to say on that.
Yeah, November 2, acknowledged. So yeah, thanks for that, Ken. And I have used the SCU kit, and I've got the CT44 adapter had it in my FT5 and playing around with it. It's very faffy. I had to put a USB dongle in my laptop, which had microphone speaker connections. Got it working, but there was cables everywhere, and it just seemed very faffy to me to get FM analog, which I can't actually see that there's much out there on FM analog. So anyway, round to break station. Ken, thanks so much for that info, and I will be sharing what I've learned from you with the users, sorry, my viewers on my YouTube channel on M0FXB. So back to the break station, M0FXB. So that's it. I think we've pretty much learned what we need to learn from Ken.
Yeah, it also helps you if you're trying to connect into an analog station room. There's a few things you can do with that HRI-200, but for the most part, what you're trying to do in the other, it's not really worth it. Yeah, the N2 station, go ahead.
Right, let's just see what the N2 station says.
I changed it in 2019 so that you got the PDN, but what it really enables you to do now is change the channels, basically, or your hosting room. You see, I got the same setup here in the United Kingdom and in the United States. I use two radios into a HRI-200, and then I can mix and match if you want. You can do it, really. That's basically all it enables you to do. But to do the same thing, you only really need one radio now to a HRI-200.
I'll just jump in there. Yeah, thanks for that info as well. So that's what I'm doing here now. I've got the FTM300 up, but I've selected it to be used in the dual receive mode. So I'm seeing the frequencies on both sides. So what can I actually do now to do what you've just said? See if we get any help there. If he even received me. So there's my dual. I should have put it back to him, really.
Yeah, that works better for a repeater. If you're trying to control a repeater and do certain things, you can marry the radio into that as a back frequency, as a receive, so you can actually hit certain tones and it will control the repeater. So if you're running on 144 on the repeater and you're running your node, your extra radio on 148.
That's a good advice there. Better sign because I'm going to run out of room here. So 73, catch you on air. Please subscribe to my channel. All the best.